how important is it to make sure that women transition back into employment after childbirth and caregiving breaks? How to make this more from a market perspective? We have just tense.
The question becomes very important from the point of view of if you think of a worker in a labor force entering the labor market to provide services, in returns of which there will be wage earnings, right? The thing which is becoming important here is the gendered angle to this. So somebody who is a part of the workforce has been working for some time, has also gained with it some kinds of knowledge and I would say a general term like learnings, which is irreplaceable, which is neither the machine. If you take just my own example, the way to teach, the way to put forth a certain abstract topic, very technical, very mathematical, but to a student audience which is very diverse from all across South Asia, because I teach in the South Asian University, the way I would do it in the beginning of my career has become much more smooth and refined over the years, which somehow cannot be translated, a part of which we call in economics like a form of human capital, which really is not fungible. So now comes the gendered angle. A woman who's like a worker in this workforce has been working, let's say, be it the power sector, be it academics, be it any sector, up to a certain point of time and then needs a break because of this personal reason that she's going to become a mother. Now, at that point, what is the labor force losing out? The labor force is definitely losing out on that irreplaceable, non-fungible human capital which is working with that woman out of that workforce. And of course, we should know that that the graveyards are full of replaceable people. But when you think of that replacement as a part of which a kind of that talent, that information which stays with that person, that is definitely lost. Okay, so the attrition is when we quantify it. We quantify it simply through numbers. There is a part of which really cannot be quantified, and that is this loss of learnings which could have been transmitted in ways which could have been personally communicated, which is now gone. So you would definitely want, it is very, very important, so I'm answering the last part first, that women who were part of the workforce are taking a break because of motherhood, come back to the workforce simply to share what they had, this human capital, which is working out for them. If you think now from a company perspective, a company invests, a typical company who's looking at, or particularly my other people in HR would probably back me up, which we model as sunk cost. It is a sunk cost to the company, a large part of their expenditure for training and for giving them certain particular sector-specific abilities to deal with day-to-day activities. Now, when somebody takes a break and suppose that person, because of lack of policies, because of lack of laws, because of lack of a supportive environment, cannot make their way back, well, then the company also loses that. So it is again retraining from scratch for a new person. And then a large number of things which happen. Women who are not returning to the workforce because of motherhood are dropping off from the labor force, not at the entrant level, but somewhere mid-career. Now, the composition of the labor force will invariably change. And the change will happen at the top management level, so that the women who would have now climbed up from mid-career to the top would be replaced by men. The others, let's make a multi-gender thing. Any other but those non-returning women you would see at the top. Now that has multiple implications, starting from if you go beyond pure economics, and here I think the literature is also talking of intersectionality. You would need other social sciences to comment on what would happen if the top management becomes entirely a gendered, kind of non-women or non-mothers who are at the decision making of an organization. well then not only will the decisions have that male-centric effect, the second thing which will happen is, coming back to the, people who are entering the labor force, like young girls, the impact will be much larger than you can think. And that is exemplified in the STEM fields by what is called the Scully effect. Dana Scully, so I'll come back to the Scully effect later if I get time, but I'll probably stop here if you want me to stop, or you can. I'll just tell you. Okay. So there is, why it is very important to have women coming back from this, if particularly in STEM fields, if you do not have a role model, and this is the point of having a role model at the top. If young girls do not see a career, that there is that woman I look up to, I want to be her. So I'll tell you this about the Scully effect. There was a very interesting TV show called X-Files on HBO. And later, the Gina Davis Institute on Gender Studies, they have done this study among scientists in the US, women scientists working in the US, and 58% of the scientists working said they entered the STEM fields to be either engineers or into mathematics because they admired Dana Scully's role in that X-Files.
Wow.
So the X-Files become the way Dana, and I myself admire Dana Scully. When you basically have to go, I think. Yes. So this is the standard Scully effect. So the Scully effect means that even if you are not, you see someone you really look up to, you admire, and this is something for companies to know and incorporate in their policies. To have a woman in a position of decision making sends multiple signals across cohorts of the population, and that it might influence a young girl to dream much bigger. And then from multiple factors like inclusiveness, inequality, GDP growth, contribution. So you can quantify it as an economist, but also from the social sciences and other parts of, from generally a welfare perspective, it becomes very, very important. Thank you.
Our industry is again a male-dominated one, which we have already seen that around 10 to 11% of the workforce is females. Being a part of WePOWER network, we have been having a LOAs, which is list of activities where we track how we are performing and how we are improvising year on year. So when I refer to those numbers, so I say that in last 2 years, the average attrition in our organization is almost 4%, out of which females who have resigned in last 2 years is less than 0.5%. If I talk in terms of the female who have resigned because of maternity in last 2 years and maybe 1 pregnancy or 2 pregnancy, the answer is 0 in last 1 year, but 1 in last 2 years. So it's not, it's just because the numbers are so less, but even 1, it pinches. As an HR, head HR, but we have been taking a lot of initiatives as partnered with WePOWER, so to promote gender diversity in the organization and increasing our numbers. To start with, what I feel is that as a organization, our interventions are divided in 3 or 4 frameworks. First is the skill-first approach. So what I feel is that the females who are wanting to return back, we have done a tie-ups with NPTI that females who wants to come back to the organization can enroll themselves, and we have curated a postgraduate diploma course in distribution energy. So that is one thing where female can come back, understand what is happening latest in terms of technology, like what ma'am also mentioned about AI or digital thing, and where it will be a part of classroom training and part of on-the-job training. And post that, they can join back. So that is one way that we have done in partnership with MPTI. Apart from that, importance is the role models and the career advancement, how we give the career opportunities to the female. Last 2 years, we have been working in terms of changing mindset and making the male engagements for promoting gender diversity. So that is what we have started doing it, where we are basically giving them awareness about the biases that males have. So that is what we are actually working.
where we are talking about returning mothers, I mean, should be returning fathers as well, right? So when young couples start their new lives, and so I started mine with my spouse in 2005, around 20 years ago. So both have certain aspirations, and both of us were working. So I was in a PSU, she was in IT, and both have different expectations at the office workplace. So both have to come to a realization that yes, once you are young and you don't have family, extended families, obviously you both can enjoy your career life, roam out here and there and balance out. But when once you are ready and you plan to grow your family, then you need to take a conscious decision as to how that is going to span out. After that decision materializes, and even during the course, how does it happen? So of course, it has to be done with utmost care. So the idea is when you are going to your workplace, during while you are already planning for this, you have to be very, very careful about your health, about your, and that's where the care needed is the most important. I was fortunate to also have support systems of my families. My mother and father were also there. We decided that she's not going to leave her job at any time, point in time, and she got a sabbatical maternity leave as well, and she's in the same organization since then. I mean, 20 years now, and 19 years now. Now, the support system, that's it. First of all, it is mindset. First of all, there has to be a mindset both at your office as well as at your home. It begins at your home. So, mindset is okay, if now the children are there, they are new additions in the family. Returning mother, I mean, how difficult or easy for you would be to go to your workplace while also not keep worrying about the children at home, especially when they are young, maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, something, when they are just kids, not started in their schools. Right? So that thought process is very important. Support system is very important. And of course, at the workplace, first is your spouse support and your belief that, okay, both of you have to contribute to the upbringing of the child and the care. Maybe I come earlier to the home or she goes later in the morning because the timings are like. So these are some of the things we need to be worked upon. But most important thing is all about your mindset. How do you view it? Your office support as well as is very, very important. The top leadership is the one from where the entire culture percolates down bottom. So if I may take the example of the office for that matter, we have created a kind of an environment and policies which are extremely favorable to women. For example, we had a lady, who had been working with us for the last few years. So we deliberately created the child care policy for her. That after she enters into the motherhood, for 2 years she can actually take care of the child and be very flexible in terms of working. Same goes with the family. When you go back home, if it's a nuclear family, then definitely you're the one who's actually setting up the culture. But when, as Sir rightly mentioned, in a joint family, then the head of the family also needs to have that kind of a mindset where women are equally not only respected, but they are also treated equivalent to men. So, like in my case, my father, we live in a joint family. I have my parents. So my father, in fact, gives my wife more importance than me, in terms of the household work. So she'll be the one who will say, okay, Sonia is thirsty, please bring her water. So it is completely the culture that you create, and that is something that cannot be learned. That can either be that is something that is biologically inculcated, or sometimes also when you see the environment around you, which is very extremely positive pertaining to women, then there are instances where there's a lot of learning and you try to kind of inculcate that or replicate that kind of an environment. I would also like to give you an example where the same kind of mindset I have also imbibed during our professional journey. Recently we did a program with ADB, and this was the solar technicians training in Nagpur, in Nasik, I'm sorry. Nagpur is the one that's going to start. And I made it a point that there should be maximum inclusion of women in the trainings. And to your surprise, out of the total trainings that were done, 57% of them were women. So that was something that was a pressure that was created by the top leadership, including my colleagues and myself. So it is something that you need to also make sure that people are also imbibing that kind of a mindset and that those kind of emotions, erupting into people.
Today I will say about only me and my story here. Okay, so as you said, what is the role of male in the female life in a family or that as a partner or in office? So I will start one by one. So I will start from role of father. So as all we know, all our daughters here in the room. So father is the very first hero in every girl's life. Every daughter has the first hero is her own father. First role model, her own father. So now that the role of father is very, very, very much important. Because as far as I remember, my childhood and after that when I was in teenage, kind of, or when I joined college, I remember he was sharing his office things with juniors and talk with his seniors, that conflict management, all those things. So those kind of discussions were there during my childhood. I used to hear and I used to participate like that. And very much interesting. And he used to say that suno sabki karo man ki. Listen to everyone, but do what you want. Let it be. Let it be what are the social expectations or in-laws expectations or your partner's expectations. Just listen, but do what you want. What you want to do, just do that. This is means first thing when I was in middle school. So that time I learned that suno sabki but karo man ki. Then regarding that my mother role, earlier means that time all of us that our mother normally they were all our homemakers. When it was the matter of learning cooking, so I myself and my brother, we both learned together cooking. My brother, he was used to cook vegetables and I was perfect in this chapati kind of thing. So there are also some kind of equal thing what I learned and I saw in my family. And I am the second generation of the female who are working in offices or that outside home. My paternal aunt. So when I was in school and when I joined college, in my engineering college, so my that Bua ji is saying Hindi. So what she told me, because that time she was the director in education department. So then she told, be in time always in office. Don't come late because it will damage your image. She did not tell about me how to cook or how to manage your house, how to manage with her husband and in-laws. No. About the how to be professionally successful. So those kind of means what I want to say. These kind of things when we develop or when we share about with our daughters, so that future will always be bright. No need to do such kind of this conferences and panel discussion. It won't be there. It will come. One day it will be there, I'm sure. But that you have to start from your house. So this is the thing. And about this role model, I was saying that my father. So I learned. I saw my father. He used to cook some favorite food, some kind of actually non-veg. My father used to, and he was very much fond of cooking. At the same time, I saw him that he is doing his best and very successful engineer in his professional life. So same thing also I learned from him. We can do very much cooking also means we can be a very much some kind of master chef also. That is the one skill. And second, at the same time, we can be very much successful in career also. There is means no need to sacrifice either of the one.